XCN Doge HBAR and other crypto holders, pack your bags. Looking at Bitcoin holding that support on the black upward trend line, following this red curve, we may see a little bit of consolidation before the pop, but it is all playing out as we expected. Moving right on over to Doge, we saw that we had that pump way up to 29 and reversal right back down to the 200 EMA. It tried holding underneath the 200 EMA, got support on this upward trend line, and pushed right back up over the 200 EMA and this important support line around 0.21 cents. Now that we had that major bullish engulfing, we can expect that we may get a little bit of consolidation, may potentially test this 200 EMA or this 21 cent mark again, testing this upward support trend line, and then ultimately pushing up towards the 25 cent mark or getting a little resistance here at 24 cents before pushing up to 29 cents once again. So overall, this doesn't look like a bad entry for Doge. Definitely keep an eye on it before entering. You want to see if there's more support, some volume. The RSI is right at the 50. It crossed over the yellow, so we may touch the yellow once more to see if it's support, and then pushing up out of the RSI. But overall, Doge has some major potential from this 22 cent mark. The next stop is well over double money. And then beyond that, they say Dogecoin can hit $4. It's definitely something you want to sell after we finish out this cup and handle and break to the upside. We may potentially even be seeing $1 minimum, but 22 cents to $1 is not a bad investment. Not financial advice. IOTX, very healthy, similar to Tornado Cash, which I brought up in the last video. It had that rejection, but it's getting some major support right off of the 200 EMA. We are getting oversold. Volume was picking up right whenever it hit that 200 EMA, and so we can expect a major increase in price coming here soon. But moving back into IOTX, we see that it is trying to hold steady support over that 200 EMA. The volume picked up exponentially right here where it got that little bit of rejection at the 3 cent mark. But we are holding support over that 200 EMA as well as this upward orange trend line. This is just looking very good. We are getting a lot of rejection, but again, comparing it to Tornado Cash, we had about 12 or 13 touches to this upward trend line. Looking at IOTX, say this yellow line is the upward trend line. We got roughly 1, 2, 3 touches. We could see some consolidation and upward momentum for IOTX, but IOTX does have a very long way to go. And when you're looking at the bigger picture, the all-time low is here at penny 0.3. The next low is around 2 cents. And this black upward trend line is the support that we want to see as some major support. The orange line is the smaller support that we're kind of looking at. I guess in the bigger picture, we can adjust this line so it's something more like this. But we want to hold above that 200 EMA and get some consolidation upwards, breaking this 3 cent mark, which the next stop would be somewhere around 4 cents and 5 cents. But the ultimate downward trend line is this guy right here, and we need to break that before we see some exponential gains. 618 on the Fibonacci is here at 6 cents, which is double your money from your entry at this point. Keeping in mind the RSI is starting to get a little bit overbought, but it is crossing over that yellow line. So it's not the best support that we'd be expecting, but it is creeping over that 200 EMA. And as we always go back in time, crossed over that 200 EMA after touching the top line about 3 times, broke well over it, and then touched it for retracement before ultimately taking off. That's kind of what we were expecting for IOTX right now. So not a bad entry. Definitely keep an eye on it for a better entry. We may test this as support. We may even cross underneath the 200 EMA, but it is getting some pretty bullish momentum going on right here. Once we break over this 3.5 cent mark, we can expect it to start push up towards the 5 cents. Near, I've been told to look at near, and near is looking very nice as well. Inverse head and shoulders playing out as we had listed here, the other video, starting to push up towards that 200 EMA. We may get another rejection, but the RSI, we need to test the yellow line as support and start pushing upwards. And the Fibonacci for this previous high, we're looking at from here to here. 618 is right at that downward black trend line, which is $5.40, nearly double your money, with the potential push up breaking over that 200 EMA. So keep that one in mind. And I brought up Aerodrome a few times. It's looking better and better, as you can see. With Bitcoin turning around and getting that push up, everything else is pushing up along with it. Upward black trend line, major support, pushing up over the 200 EMA. Very strong bull candle here. We may get a little bit of consolidation before trying this high once again, being $1. Currently at 91 cents. Definitely keep an eye on it. Maybe not enter at this moment, as we may get a little rejection and test the CM Guppy and the 200 EMA, as well as the upward trend line, but eventually start pushing up over that high of $1 and beyond. Aerodrome does have a pretty long way to go, you know, $1 to $2 at least on this chart, but there is some exponential potential for Aerodrome Finance, as this is looking pretty bullish in the long run. As long as we're holding above this black trend line and it's very tight to this, an entry in this area is not a bad idea. The absolute low being around, well, all the way down here at 7 cents from 91 cents. But if we can hold the support, we can start seeing that push up. Moving on to XYO, we'll come back to XCN near the end. XYO, long consolidation. We see that it had that pop the other day and tested the 200 EMA yet again. We need to ultimately break this downward trend line before we'll start seeing some major potential pushing upwards. 618 retracement is around the 1.5 cent mark, more or less. But the entry for you guys to be looking at, if you're not entering near this black upward trend line, wait for it to cross this downward trend line, which is probably the exact same time we'll be crossing over that 200 EMA. And with that, we can start seeing the bullish momentum for XYO, which does have some very high potential for new highs on this specific coin. Keeping in mind the volume, a little bit of volume will go a long way. We see back here it was very low volume, and then a 1 bar with high volume pushed it all the way up there to, where's that at? Where's my marker? All the way up to 4 cents. So we are at 1 cent. That is pretty good, couple 100% gain there. So the better entry is to keep in mind that we need to cross over that 200 EMA. The better entry is breaking over this downward trend line. Bringing in Spell, HBAR, and Compound, as well as SHIB. Spell had the pop, had that retracement. Now we are getting some support off the CM Guppy here. Higher volume picking up. I guess it's lower volume when it's trying to sell off, which is good news. And so with this wick off here, we can expect that this is going to be a star pattern and start pushing this up. And if we can get a bullish engulfing and breaking over that 200 EMA, Spell is looking better and better for an entry. If you want to take that ride, I mean, it's definitely a risky ride for the ride up to the 200 EMA, but that's 12%. You know, I don't mind missing out on the 12%. I want to see a better entry here around potentially 16%. Yes, you miss out on that 16%, but with that, you're going to get a better likelihood of having some stronger support, which you can also gain an additional 28% from that entry. And beyond that, we are looking at well over 100% for Spell. Spell, the major resistance area, which happens very, very quickly. We can see we had some resistance at 0.001, 0.0014, and then all the way up here at 0.002. So dropping a zero is substantial for coins like this. And when you look in the past, look at all that potential to reach the all-time highs at 0.0, almost 3 cents. Dropping 2 zeros is phenomenal. So Spell is looking better and better as the days go on. Potentially forming out an inverse head and shoulders, you know, not the best. We can actually probably get rid of that. But we do mainly want to see it cross over this 200 EMA and hold. We may test this upward trend line a few more times but getting over that 200 EMA is crucial. And looking at it with a downward trend line, you could say this is the trend and we're now trying to hold it as support, but you can redraw your trend line and say that we need to get over this black trend line, which is also getting over that 200 EMA before we start seeing some major movement. Compound looking very nice. Something I keep recommending over and over again, breaking trend line after trend line on the downward movements, now holding this area as support. You need to break over that 200 EMA, but anywhere within this area is a good entry. All-time highs of $1,000 nearly. So $50 investment turning into $1,000. I don't know what else you can invest in to make that happen, but compound is definitely a good bet. We are testing that 200 EMA yet again. RSI is looking good. The volume, it's picking up a little bit, but nothing to keep too worried about, as we've had a lot of time to enter within this area. Last time we made a 60% gain from $45 up to $60. Is that correct percentage? 30% gain, my bad. But that was very good pop for our sell-off when we hit that downward trend line. We had another entry here, breaking this trend line, and a sell-off, and we now have our third time to enter and get out. And when we look at this on an inverse scale, that just looks very, very good for that push this way, which is upward. Here it looks downward, but since we are getting lower highs in this inverted chart, we expect for this to start pushing this way with the 200 EMA, grabbing it and dragging it the other way. We're going to flip that back so you can see what that looks like. And it has very good potential. 618 is all the way up here at double money, $100 or so. HBAR and SHIB, this video is getting long. HBAR looking nice. Definitely kind of wait for it to break a downward trend line. You can imagine this. Let's make that a little bit thinner. But ultimately, we are getting some support from this upward trend line. So anywhere within this wedge, we may see a further drop and test this 0.5, but breaking down this downward trend line and holding this upward trend line, as well as holding above that 200 EMA, is kind of what we are looking at for that. SHIB is a meme coin, but it's at an absolute low. Now is not a bad entry. All of this is not financial advice. We want to see it get over that 200 EMA as well, pushing up towards this downward trend line and then breaking that ultimately. And then lastly, XCN, everybody's favorite. The reason people watch these videos in the first place is what I'm seeing from analytics. It does look scary for some people as we underneath that 200 EMA. We are holding this orange upward trend line, but this ripped back from this high right here at 2 cents, came all the way down to nearly a penny and a third. And now once we get over this 200 EMA, just 1 bar of volume, as we see right here, came underneath the 200 EMA, tested it, everybody panic sold, and then smart money came in and bought at 0.008, pushing it all the way up to around 2.5 cents. So I am not worried about XCN. XCN is one of my major bags to be holding, but it has a substantial way to go to be hitting that all-time high, getting rid of everything. 10 cents on this chart. The all-time high is actually 18 cents, but the 200 EMA is, fire. 200 EMA is fire. We are oversold in the RSI a little bit. Just a little bit of volume is all we need. A little bit of smart money, throw their money in there, and then boom, we're going to be heading up to the 4 to 5 cents again. None of this is financial advice, but stack your bags for XCN, XYO, XRP, HBAR. All those are very good investment ideas. Even some meme coins like Spell and SHIB as well. Compound. I keep recommending Compound because Compound looks very, very healthy. It is a little bit more expensive, but it is a healthier coin to be investing in. None of this is financial advice. Description has references for the links below. There's even wallet addresses if you're willing to tip. But good luck, have fun with it, and I will see you guys on the next one. The bull run is coming.